Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of GNN. Today is August 7th, 2024, and you know what that means. We have another banner night on our hands here. But before we get into the details of our brand new mobile suit, let's go over some news. Alright folks, before we get into the news, I just want to let you guys know I am fighting off a cold that I'm getting over. Unfortunately, if I do sound nasally and under par compared to what I normally sound like, that is the reason why. So, as we lead into this, we are clear way into the 6-year anniversary campaign for Gundam Battle Operation 2. This thing started in July the 24th, and we're well on our way with this ongoing right now. And just to kind of recap really quickly, if you guys are unaware and just now joining the console side of things, we have the 6-year anniversary campaign with the Zai opening the anniversary campaign being our first 5-star mobile suit to drop on the game, as well as the Penelope also following in suit, both being 700. We also got updates on the battle simulator with the new Big Zam mission being a pain in the butt. It's pretty fun though. And also we love our free supply drop. So it says up to 80, which means we have pretty much a lot of weekly pulls. I think they're weekly pulls. Yeah, they're weekly pulls. Plus some other things. It's just a lot of stuff. Take in a lot of free stuff, especially if you're probably new as well. And we also have had a lot of different step ups as well throughout that. I'm just gonna recap really quickly. This is, yeah, just a lot of stuff going on. And then we have limited missions going on. We're actually, to be fair, on our third phase of that limited missions right now. So the first round was the single Dom Cannon, single gun type. God, that's a tongue twister right there. And the full armor Slave Wraith. I believe this was opening it for the level 2 versions. Right now we're in the GM raid. Well, we just passed the GM raid, which was the 400 cost. Now we're into the GM Kai Shadows weapon rack, which is originally a clan suit, but this is your chance to get that, plus the next iteration, which I think brings it up to 350 now, because it's normally a 300 suit. And then closing out the last round will be Makuve's Goof, which I believe is also a 300 raid. So it's gonna be pretty interesting for that matter. So going into our main event, we have the TR-5 make an appearance again, this time in the Hrairoo-Rah 2 form. This is the, I almost want to just go straight into the RX, but it's a ORX-005 plus the FF-X39A Gaplant configuration. This is obviously an Advance of Zeta entry, which I'm not too familiar, but I know enough that, okay, yeah, this is an add-on package. But it's a 3-star suit, which we know our, I think our regular TR-5 is 550 base, so this has got to be at least a 600, potentially, but we do have 650 coming up this weekend. But what's really cool about this, since I know a lot of you guys are relegated to maybe saving for the one that you really want, we do have a nice boosted supply drop step up for this. And what that means for the uninitiated, as you can see here, is we have a half off. And the nice thing that they've been doing recently too is that guaranteed, the 4-step program. If you don't get it in the first 3, you're guaranteed on that 4th one. It is pretty much unseen in the early days of GBO2. This is really great, just because, you know, you don't want to be spending all day trying to get it if it's something that you really want. And I'm grateful that this is here. This was not here previously. But it is really neat that, you know, things are slowly turning around for the better. And on top of that, if you still go through all 4 steps, you do get some bonuses to tune this awesome suit, or maybe some other 3-star suits that you've been working on. So really cool stuff. On top of that, they do have a special step-up supply drop notice for enhancing. So 4-step process, every step being a different tier of mechanic tickets. You're getting 200 each, so 2 stars, 2-star being the discounted pool, 3 stars, 4 stars, and 5 stars with the Step 3 and Step 4 being mobile suits, with one of them guaranteed as a mobile suit, and then 2 to 3 star rarity of different types of items, and then the last step being not just the 3 stars or greater, but you're all getting mobile suits on that pull. So pretty cool stuff. You might be getting something different. More than likely, you might get some duplicates along the way as well, but definitely resources that help with tuning in that regard. On top of that, speaking of tuning, we do still have that limited powered up supply. Oh, said supply. I'm so used to saying supply, but powered up hanger campaign going on. So you have a 3 times great success chance at your hangers, plus 3 times enhanced values for those duplicate mobile suits. So even if you do get dupes and they're not tuned yet, definitely try to unlock some of those tuning brackets, or modification brackets rather. This is a good chance to full tune some of that stuff to make it really amazing and keep you in the fight. So one thing to note also is the situation battle for Battle at Torrington, the Gundam UC scenario. They are adjusting the Efreet Schnei, the Zaku FC Fritz helmet, and the Zaku cannon with greater mobile suit specifications. They don't specify what exactly. I can only assume that more than likely the resistances, movement values, maybe even damage for that matter, are going to be tweaked. How much, I don't know, but you are fighting off against the Violent Custom and its friends on the Federation side, Team A. So I can only assume so much for the most part. But our main event here, the Hrairoo-Rah, is a 3-star mobile suit, 650 cost. So I did say at least 600. It definitely is a 650 in this regard. Variant of the TR-5 Gaplant, modified with Hrairoo-2 support parts. So that's why there's that FF designation there, which we saw with the Core Fighter. If you dig around the Gundam mechanics and everything, this is, I believe, a internal Federation code, not Anaheim, although I think Anaheim does use something similar. I know somebody in the comments is going to correct me on that. But it is really cool to kind of see the full model designation, because I know a lot of people, sometimes when you look at this stuff up, it tends to get convoluted with a lot of the re-Xeon stuff, with a lot of the introduced mechanics and everything. So it does kind of help to kind of separate out like the Titan stuff and then the re-Xeon stuff that uses a lot of the stolen plans and iterations. But this is a 2nd gen all area, all range transformable mobile suit. First to offer remarkable mobility for operation by cyber new types, and could perform high altitude interceptions. And this is a ground and space unit, so really, really cool stuff. For the most part, I just kind of skimmed it really quickly, but some really neat lore behind the configuration in this Advance of Zeta setting. If you are doing 10 pulls for this separately, and say you don't want to do the supply drop step up thing, maybe you just want the normal suit, well, this is your chance to get the Rosamia normal suit as seen in the Advance of Zeta, sorry, the Zeta movies, as well as the separate Zeta show. I believe she's wearing that as well. So really cool stuff. So on to the nitty-gritty details of our new Titan suit. Alright folks, here we are with our nitty-gritty suit, the Hrairoo-Rah 2. I'm surprised they don't give it the TR-5 designation, but hey, maybe there's a limited space for all the different names that it has. Anyways, it is, as I mentioned before, a 650 suit. So going down the line, we have 24k HP, some decent numbers in the beam and melee resistance to play off of, and a 24 in ballistic. Much like the base TR-5 that we have at 550, I believe this one is also melee suit, which kind of is hinted with its leaning towards that area with a little bit of range power. It's not completely non-existent, but it does have a little more melee leaning with a pretty good cruising speed of 140 and a top speed of 225. Thruster gauge is very, very generous. It's sitting at a nice whopping 80, which is a lot to play with. And then turning speed being 72. Now, of course, just to kind of do a quick comparison, a lot of the other suits might have a little bit more of an advantage, depending on what we're looking at here. But I would say it's very much at least par for the course, and comparable to even the TR-1 that we have at 650 as well. Now, going into the part slots before we get into the main state, as you can see already, but feel free to skip ahead. I would say definitely decent amount of space in close and medium range, enough to fit some resistances, especially with the shenanigans at 650. It doesn't have a whole lot of range, long range space, but I think it has enough to kind of, you know, enough to get creative for the most part. Going into the weapons now, we have a nice binder beam cannon as its main gun, not the beam rifle that it comes with, which we'll get to a bit. 2150, 80% heat rate at an effective range of 400, which is pretty much par for the course, I guess. I think this is very similar to even the regular Gaplant, if we can scroll up really quickly and find it. If we go up to base power, 2080, 450, it does lose a little bit of range, but we are comparing it specifically to this, so yeah, not bad. 4-second cooldown time between shots and a 15-second cooldown or overheat time. Going into the primary weapon, or primary melee, 2400 base power of 2.5 seconds. The saber is actually pretty nice. It's not too bad damage-wise. We also have, you know, pretty good stuff here. Low rate of fire for the beam cannon, and then, you know, pretty standard stuff for the saber. This actually has a chest beam. Now, of course, it doesn't do any damage. This would probably be comparable to something like the Dawn little flash beam that it has. 15-second cooldown time, just mainly to stun people. It's not too bad. Although, I'm not sure how effective it can be, especially if you're moving around really, really quickly, but at least it's there. Going into the secondary melee, just like the regular TR-5, this one actually has the heat blade as well. 3-second cooldown time with a 2800 base power. This is compatible with the aerial melee system skills, so I only took it out once, as you can see, and I didn't see any opportunities to use that quite yet, but at the same time, this thing is gonna be pretty nasty in the right hands. So, wow, this is gonna be interesting. We do have a sub-weapon category for the binder beam cannons, 400 base power times 2 with a heat rate of 10%, effective range of 300 meters, 1-second cooldown time with a 16.3 second overheat time, which is kind of weird. Not sure why they came up with that figure or decided to. I don't know, but it does offer, I think, when all the hits connect, you are looking at about maybe 60 to 70% stun buildup. So this is pretty nice to kind of use if you got some downtime and you're waiting for this to alternate as far as your primary weapon goes. But we'll see. I don't know if it's necessarily super reliable, especially if you got to manage the heat, but still better than nothing because you do have the long blade rifle in shooting form, and this thing, I would say base power is pretty decent, but with everybody running beam at this cost range, it does feel different as far as there's no ballistic options on the Hrairoo-Rah so far that I've seen. So even though the 2600 seems nice, it's gonna get shaved off pretty quickly with the amount of beam resistance people are running at 650. So not bad. It is a fire to stun weapon, and it also penetrates. So even though it may not necessarily do a whole lot, if you do see people kind of lining up at distance, this is a good opportunity to kind of just take that opportunity and just do as much damage as you can at distance, because this actually has a neat effective range of 550. Whereas I think the other beam configuration, if we go at the base version of the TR-5 with the blade rifle, I think we only have an effective range of... Where is it? I think it's only 500, to be fair. I'm not saying that you should go out and snipe with it, obviously, but wow, I am definitely losing my ability to look for this thing. But we can even look at the the long blade rifle for the Ocelot, which is a different version of that, and I think it's not nearly as far either. They're still sitting short at about 500. So, wow, I should know this. This is a TR unit that I definitely have, which for whatever reason, I feel like the sickness is kicking my butt, so it is definitely affecting my ability to find it, but I can assure you that it definitely is one of those things that... Oh, actually, I think it is under G. See, that's the thing with like some of the Advance of Zeta units is the way that they're sorted in here, plus with the sorting system that GBO2 has. It's a little different. Here we go. Yeah, TR-5. Yeah, so they're using the same base version as well. So yeah, not quite there, but I believe this is a advanced version or improved version of that blade rifle. So yeah, can't quite compare it in that same capacity, but this is a heat rate based weapon, not ammo based. So people are definitely gonna have to take care with managing this plus the other beam weapons there, but definitely good utility wise because it does have range. So definitely really cool. Because this does have a transformation mode, sorry, before I kind of skip ahead there. It does have it goes from heat based to ammo based. So it can suppress, fire to suppress. It's got decent range. Damage wise does drop though. We go from 2600 to 2200. But reload tides were reloadable. And then you got the pew-pews here as well. Great for build-up stun and everything. Alright, into the shopping list of skills that we have. We got some usual suspects. It's got a roll. Flight Control 3, so it definitely reduces thrust consumptions, which something like this that transforms, yeah, you're gonna need that. It has Glide. Anti-blast stabilizer, which is really nice considering this is a melee-oriented suit, so definitely is usable. Well, it's definitely a welcome sight. We do have balancers, obviously, and back 2. So despite this not being a space compatible or ground compatible specifically, and back 2, I think that they're just running it with this, so it'll definitely be a much more oriented at space, I think. I might be wording that kind of weird, but yeah, I think it's going to be much more viable in space. Ground, I think it's still usable. MA1, this has Force Ejector 2, area melee system, so lets you melee attacks in mid-air when a set distance from the ground. So, yeah, I'm kind of curious to see what people do with that. Maybe give me some ideas and points with that as well. Obviously, melee combo controller 1, so 2-hit combo. This has offensive system, so it reduces reaction when hit by a ranged attack during melee combat. So, wow, this is gonna be an interesting suit since it's so wide. But I don't know, we'll see. Obviously, it transforms. Now, of course, it does have special arm binders, which reduce damage by 30%. The back binders at level 2, and leg binders buffers there for both of those at 15%. So that's actually pretty good so far. If you can keep this suit out of trouble, that is. As mentioned before, this has this transformation optimizer, so increases turning performance when changing from a transform state back to normal. So assuming you're gonna probably be juggling between transform mode and then mobile suit mode, it helps with that. And like, this thing already has a decent turning speed already, but I think it's while you're transforming back, you kind of get locked into, so I guess they're trying to address that transformation animation, perhaps. I don't know for certain, but if somebody finds out and tries it, feel free to throw that into the comments below. Of course, when we do transform, anti-blast stabilizer still stays. We get shock dampeners, so basically it's kind of like MA1. It has a ram attack. It has a high boost ram attack. So very much like the Delta Chi when this first came out, you do get the movement boost speed by 5 and extra damage by an extra 1,000. So you're doing about roughly 2k. It's a flat 2k. You can't get extra damage out of it by boosting, like, say, melee strength or range strength. So kind of sad, but at the same time, it does kind of open up to the level of different tactics that you can pull with the suit. Transformation optimizers, kind of think the normal thing. So you do have that thruster case consumption, activating high-speed movement or transforming back by 60%, and reduces thruster gauge consumption while moving by 20%. So this is cruising speed. Cruising speed is actually pretty good as well. It's 190 and 235 top speed, so it's actually 10 speeds slower than the Delta Chi. And in the sense of cruising and in high speed. So this is probably the second fastest suit in the game, if I'm not mistaken. So this is going to be a crazy suit, especially in space. We also have, again, the binder still staying there. So yeah, this is pretty crazy. This is pretty nuts. I'm actually kind of curious to see how this handles regular pub matches, which I did take it out once, and I think it's pretty decent enough at the very minimum. Whether how it handles high level, high skill players, that's another story. Maybe you guys can enlighten me on that. But oh man, the melee capability on this I think is going to be pretty decent, because with the heat blade, it's basically probably going to compete against the likes of things like, well, I wouldn't say it competes directly, because like EZZ as an example, I think it's 700, but like anything that's like this double Zeta with that extra reach, depending on the obviously the melee priority, that's going to be a factor. But like, I kind of almost look at this like a fencer now, because when you're able to get those angles around and people are unaware, you can just kind of keep them in place with that long melee. And this is definitely going to be something to kind of keep in mind too, because it's the downswing on this is it's very notable. So all right, folks, that concludes tonight's news and update on our brand new Hrairoo-Rah mobile suit dropping for Gundam Battle Operation 2. Let me know what you guys think about it. Like, there are certain things obviously that are hard to ignore with this type of mobile suit, but at the same time, it is a large suit, which might make it pretty easy to bully as well, as notable with the regular classic TR-5, especially if you happen to find yourself out of position. But, you know, let's talk about it. Let's discuss that in the comments there. I'm curious what you guys think, and if you are pulling for it. I know some of you guys might be skipping it because it's not your particular favorite or your cup of tea, but for those that you are, or maybe you're just genuinely curious about what it's capable of, I want to know. But anyways, that's it for now. And anyways, I will see you guys all on the next video. Take care.